It's happening!
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening!
Panama unveils bill to make Bitcoin legal tender. Today I want to show you why this is the most important trend for Bitcoin for reasons maybe you haven't considered all that much yet. Also, what I think the SEC's true intentions are behind suing Coinbase. But first, the majority of you watching my content right now actually are already subscribed. So please consider unsubscribing. And as usual, I have some interesting data to share with you about Bitcoin to start us off with. According to the Bitcoin Spent Output Profit Ratio, or SOPR for short, we have apparent reason to be excited. This summer, we can see a bunch of green on the chart while the price fell. What this means is most people who sold, most people who sold during this period directly after Bitcoin fell from $60,000, on average did so for a loss. Typical retail investors. They just can't help themselves but buy high and sell low. After the positive price action these past couple of weeks, many were able to sell for a profit, but very recently, if we zoom right in on this chart, yes, there it is, green. The majority of those who sold again did so for mostly a loss. How very sad. This fact slightly hints at positive things to come, which is a belief even the third largest wallet holder on Bitcoin also shares, buying $23 million worth at an aggregate price of $46,800 to now hold $5 billion worth of the coin. What an absolute legend. Wow! The SOPR suggests that Bitcoin was recently slightly oversold, and currently the setup looks a bit similar to pullbacks we saw in 2020 here, just as the bull run was getting started, and here where Bitcoin then kicked on to reach heights of over $60,000 per. But there's also a major downside to consider with this. If this is to be trusted as a reliable indicator, it also shows us that what happened this summer didn't even come close to a true bear market, and things can get demonstrably so much worse. Let's move on to more positive things. One of the most positive things possible, actually. No, I'm kidding. In what could be the beginning of a global trend, Panama is exploring a fast follow of El Salvador's official embrace of Bitcoin. The day after El Salvador adopted Bitcoin as legal tender, Panamanian Congressman Gabriel Silva introduced a bill designed to provide legal, regulatory, and fiscal certainty to the use, holding, and issuance of digital value and crypto assets in the Republic of Panama. That sounds good to read, doesn't it? It sounds good to hear. I think it is a little early to claim a global trend. I don't know who this quote is originally attributed to, but it goes like this verbatim. 1 is an anomaly, 2 is a coincidence, but 3 is a global trend, and Bitcoin is definitely going to the moon. The new Panamanian bill aims to promote the use of cryptocurrency and other digital assets, similar to legislation in its fellow Central American country El Salvador. But it also outlines an expansion of government use of blockchain technologies for purposes of identity and transparency, aka surveillance, but anyway. One more country, and we definitely have a confirmed global trend on our hands, which is very exciting stuff. But how big a deal is Panama adopting Bitcoin? I hate to do it. I think it's quite reductive to glance at a country and check out what can you do for the price of Bitcoin. But here it goes. The GDP of Panama is over 66 billion, 3x that of El Salvador even.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
But Panama has the second worst income distribution in Latin America. Although the country is rapidly growing in wealth, prosperity is not felt by all. According to the CIA, approximately 1/4 of the population lives in poverty. So yeah, definitely do not expect them to pump Bitcoin. No one should expect anything but a dump on the day this bill gets passed, if it does get passed. But if I had to choose between the unbanked, impoverished having the ability to transact now, or getting a teeny tiny bit wealthier because of their involvement in Bitcoin, well, I'll take the money, please. I'm just kidding. But my opinion isn't even entirely altruistic here. This trend is extremely important for us all, and I think Andreas Antonopoulos said it best. Why?
If the people in power choose to, they can decide to debank you overnight. They turn off the switch. Now imagine what happens if your bank account is shut down and cash doesn't exist. Well, you can't eat. You can't buy food. Done. You can't use transportation. You can't rent an apartment. They can literally destroy your life in a second.
Oh, but Crypto Daily, that would never happen to me. Yeah, that's what a lot of people in China would have said once upon a time too, before their government instituted a scoring metric for each of its citizens.
People who have a negative credit score on that system are denied access to public transportation. They're denied access to airlines, they're denied access to trains, they're denied access to jobs in the government, they're denied access to apartments to rent. They're doing that today. Now, today, those people have cash to go back on. What happens when there's no cash?
Okay, so it's important. Got it. But where the money at? About 1.3 billion people in 107 developing countries, which account for 22% of the world's population, live in multidimensional poverty. And I'm not trying to say that Bitcoin is the solution to everything here. Many of those people don't have phones, yet alone data, and if I'm really honest, there's more than a significant chance Bitcoin just makes things worse. But a potential trend of impoverished countries adopting Bitcoin because, hey, it's not like I got much choice here, is potentially something some 100 countries worldwide might be considering at this very moment.
You just blew my mind.
Keep in mind, the last video or so we looked at, there's around 1 million Bitcoin wallets in existence. We're talking about 1 billion people here. Last, and most definitely the least, the SEC suing Coinbase. Why? To look after the little guys, obviously. As a democratically appointed governmental institution, their sole and singular operational purpose is for the betterment of American and potentially even beyond citizens. Hot off the heels of refusing Ripple's request for the SEC to disclose their XRP holdings personally, if any, the SEC may sue Coinbase if the exchange offers crypto lending. They had plans to award stakers of USDC 4% interest per year. This is at a time where the average bank interest rate in America is at a staggering 0.03. This means that if you were to put in $100 into a savings account, let that interest just compound for you for your 5 whole years, you would make a profit that even Fiat Daily would be proud of. 15 cents.
Hey, soda.
$1.
Oh, come on now. Look out for a brother, man. Come on. Hey, check this out. Why don't you let me get a sip for 15 cents?
My cups cost more than 15 cents.
Okay, obviously, they're not looking to help the little guy here. But let's look at the facts about this. The SEC are a regulatory body which includes overseeing banking operations and bank securities. It's kind of in the name. And while conspiracy theories of the SEC trying to protect banks, their friends, from this systemic threat to their existence seems obvious, but you also can't have it both ways. So the SEC is suing Ripple because they're protecting banks? I thought it was a protocol meant to be adopted by the banks.
That doesn't make sense.
Truthfully, I actually think it's quite simple. I could be wrong, but here's my opinion. The SEC is run by a bunch of lawyers. Their job is to litigate. Big fines, if they can levy, whoever they can, look good on their resumes and personal careers. So everyone and everything is up for grabs if it represents a payday. Not whether it helps American citizens. That would be nice, but it's not the top priority. It's a conflict of interest that's really omnipresent all around the world, but especially in America. So I just imagine them all in their offices. They hear Coinbase is about to launch a new lending feature. It involves crypto and it generates interest. That is so much temptation for them, it's almost unfair.
Red alert. All hands stand to battle stations.
They'll just tie you up, see if they can get something to stick, pretty similar to their strategy with Ripple actually, litigate it, and hope for a small fine at least. In summation, I hope they don't win. It would set a really bad standard that could only harm American citizens. But ultimately, they are fighting an inevitable change here. Other equally futile activities spring to mind: a dog barking at the moon, shooting a squirt gun at the ocean, trying to drown a shark, testing if chloroform even works.
See, it doesn't.